So with the cliffhanger of chapter 340 being so insane, I just had to make a video speculating about the upcoming chapter to answer the question of if Barou will score or not. Also, I'm leaving the most exciting stuff to the end, so be sure to stick around. But before that, let me give you a quick rundown of what happened in the first half of chapter 340. So first off, we have Karasu, Shidou, and Rio. All three of them are working like a real unit out on the field, trading passes like they are prime Barcelona back in the day. Before embarrassing the France team a bit too much, Shidou decides to pass it to Hiyori, who traps it, and just then, all of them rush to the goal. Hiyori then starts loading up a pass to Karasu, but Karasu lets the ball slip past him towards Isagi. But for some reason, Loki starts to think that the series is about him, so he comes in Isagi's way. Because of that, he passes to Rin on his side, and together it looks like they got behind Loki, but as Rin passes the ball back to Isagi, Loki is then right away on his tail. They then go into a duel with each other before Isagi shows us what he is planning as he passes to Barou on his side, who looks absolutely furious and starving for a goal. Now here is where the questions come into play as well. What is going to happen now, and do we think that Barou will score? And I won't lie, but there is a possibility that he does score, but in my opinion it's low. If we take a look on the field, we see that Charles is with Shidou, and Loki is already with Isagi and Rin. However, Hugo is nowhere to be seen, and I feel like he will then reveal himself right in front of Barou in the next chapter. I honestly feel like it will be the first panel that they just straight open up with. Anyway, I do feel like Barou will have people that he will be able to pass to, but he is of course the king, and he hasn't gotten to play since, like, forever. So I feel like he wants to try his luck on the player who has been shutting down Isagi this whole time. This will lead to Barou shooting towards the goal. Hugo will then somehow not fully block it, but instead I feel like he will block it just barely, and it will still go towards the goal, and then it will hit the crossbar. Now, I didn't think of that, I'll be honest, but sadly I forgot who it was that said it. But shout out to you because that sounds so cold. I really do feel like we don't have enough crossbar shots in Blue Lock. Now, you could argue that, well, it doesn't happen that often in real time either, which is true, but since when has Blue Lock cared like a ton about realism? So I would love to see Barou hitting the crossbar due to Hugo's block, or if we just play around with the idea of Barou being an absolute unit for a while. It would also be sick if somehow he finds someone with whom he can do some sort of 1-2 play together, and they try and get behind Hugo. Hugo will obviously still be on his tail, but they will then be even, just like how Loki and Isagi were in this panel right here anyway. And then honestly, Barou just gets his predator eyes out and shoots it right into the goal. Now, as you might have heard, that is me just blatantly daydreaming, as that all sounds a bit too fairy tale and good to be true. But come on, let a Barou lover dream sometimes. Also, why I think that Barou scoring is kind of almost certainly out of the question is because I strongly feel like the game against England will be where Barou really gets to shine. I do plan on making a video about my predictions for the England game after the France game is over, so look forward to that, because if you don't, then I'm sending the rat after you right away. Anyway, I got way too sidetracked, so where even was I? Right, I feel like Barou is going to be saved to be used for the England game, and then have an insane impact in there. So with that in mind, we are going to move back in time to when I said that the ball was going to hit the crossbar and bounce away. Now who is going to take it? Will it be someone from France or someone from Blue Lock? Well, this option that I'm about to reveal right here, I'm a bit on the fence with, but I have seen a lot of people talking about it, so I also has to throw my 2 cents into it. And that's if Kunigami will be the one to not only receive the second ball, but also scoring off it, which yeah, sounds a bit crazy. But hear me out, Kunigami got subbed in on the midfield, and we have already seen that Karasu has been up there, and also Isagi, and that makes it so that it will be totally possible for him to be on the place of the scene. But what does that really tell us? Well, it tells us that he will have a chance to get the ball, and since all of the good France players are already busy, he would be most likely free. If not, Loki pulls out some new insane technique and doesn't run this time, but straight up teleports. Now I know that it sounds insane, but after he stopped Kaiser's free kick in the Neo-Egoist League, I wouldn't put it past him to do something like that. Anyway, Kunigami would most likely be pretty free out on the field. If you want to give him a harder times, then you can of course put some of the France NPC players in front of him. Now we did see that not all of them actually are NPC players, as a bunch of them was able to counter Blue Lock and more specifically, Chigiri and Bachira. However, since Kunigami wasn't in the starting team and France didn't change any player after their halftime, then I don't think that France currently has anyone in that would be able to counter Kunigami, for example, since he would most likely not get to roam free, but he is currently not counterable if it isn't one of the 3 big boys from France, of course. Now this all sounds so great, right? Like Kunigami being free, he could most likely just score, right? And yes, that is what I would like to say, but if I'm going to be fully honest with you, then I have such a hard time picturing myself a Kunigami goal, Now Kunigami is a character that I do enjoy really much, but is he going to be the one which makes the most sense to get the first goal after halftime? I feel like both you and I know the answer to that question already. Like if the author had thought that Kunigami was going to get in the spotlight right away, then I strongly don't think that he would have placed him down in the midfield with Karasu and instead put him somewhere a bit higher. Also, a Kunigami goal sadly doesn't hold nearly as much hype as a Shidou goal or Barou goal, so I do find it hard to see that happening. So what is Kunigami's role going to be then? Well, personally, I feel like he was placed in the midfield just to counter Hugo. How he will be able to do that, I have no clue right now, as I haven't given it much thought just yet. But I feel like Ego doesn't see Kunigami as a joker. This I think is pretty clear as he called Barou and Shidou his double jokers. This makes me believe that he sees Kunigami as a more just chill player to keep control of things, and to be the player that will shut down Hugo, since Hugo is the player giving Blue Lock the most trouble right now. Now, does this mean that Kunigami is unable to score? Well, of course not, as he already scored a goal before. I just think that him getting the first goal of the match when I think that his role will be much more of a defensive and man-marking role. It isn't that believable for someone like that to go in and score a wonder goal right away. So now let's get back on topic, because what it is that I even wanted to get out of this, well, it is that I don't even think that the ball will fall to Kunigami in the beginning. The only future where I see Kunigami being useful for us right now is if he joins Barou up on the top and tries to get away, Hugo from Barou, while Barou then runs off freely with the ball. That's the only solution I can see happening, but I don't really believe it. So let's move back and think about the ball, which has just bounced off the crossbar, as it isn't heading to Kunigami, but instead to the demon Shidou. Now I know what you're thinking, and yes, he has Charles around him guarding him, but I mean, Shidou has been in way tougher spots before than this. Like, not to be like that, but Charles is a dwarf compared to Shidou right here. And that's not weird, since Charles is like 15 or 16, and Shidou is also really tall. So I feel like the ball will go to Shidou. Charles will of course try his best to come in Shidou's way, and do whatever he can to stop the furious beast. But I feel like Shidou will just either get behind him with minimal effort, or he will honestly just use Charles to then swing himself up and higher into the air, to then meet with the ball if it hasn't gone to him yet. Personally, I think with all my heart and brain, that in the next part we might get to see one of the most disgusting and insane Shidou goals that we have ever seen. What am I basing this off? Well, honestly, just my own thoughts, but also that Blue Lock pretty much needs to get even with France right this second. Not to mention that Shidou, as well as the other subs, just came in and giving them a goal right off the bat. Well, there is no better shock value than that. I feel like Barou will set us up with a shot against the goal, but sadly miss, and then we will have the savior Shidou coming running, using Charles as a way to get to the ball, and then scoring an outright insane goal, hitting an insane victory celebrating pose and leaving us all just stunned. Now if Shidou doesn't score in this chapter, then you can bet yourself that he is without a doubt scoring in the next. Am I willing to bet on that? Hell no, as I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks? No, but in all seriousness, I really think that this is what the authors have been setting up for and what will happen. But now you guys have listened to me yap for about 8 minutes, so I would love to this time hear what you guys think will happen down in the comments. Also whether you guys think that my theory has any possibility of happening, or none at all. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, of course. But also, if you can hype the video down below, which is supposed to help the video me out a ton, so thank you so much. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.